In close quarters, gets it back, three to tie. Good! Steph, three. Got it! Oh, how good is Steph Curry?
Unbelievable! Unbelievable!
When looking through NBA history, we have tons of competitive and all-time great rivalries. From Magic vs. Bird, Kobe vs. Duncan, and so on and so on. And when speaking of the 2010s, the rivalry that dominated this era was Cavaliers vs. Warriors and Steph Curry vs. LeBron James. For this rivalry, we had the two best players in the NBA on two super teams that were virtually guaranteed to make the finals every single year. And throughout that rivalry, you had some great games, some great moments, even some great series, but at the end of the day, it was a very one-sided rivalry that was heavily dominated by one Steph Curry. As versus the Cavaliers in the NBA Finals, he had a 3-1 record, going 15-7 in those games, averaging 25.4 points per game. I think most NBA fans, including myself, we understand Steph and the Warriors owned the late 2010s and were by far one of the best dynasties in NBA history. But one thing for Steph that is heavily slept on is his dominance of Cleveland and their overall franchise. As to put it pretty simply, Steph Curry owns the Cavaliers franchise. As since the 2016 Finals, Steph vs. Cleveland has a 19-1 record, including 15 straight victories. And I would say where this dominance began was in Game 5 of the 2017 Finals. As in this series, Steph and the Warriors, they were looking for revenge from the 2016 Finals when they blew a 3-1 lead previously. And in this Game 5, trying to close out Cleveland, Steph had 34 points, 10 assists, 6 boards, on 50% shooting. And when it came to the fourth quarter, he had 9 points, including the revenge jump shot over Kyrie Irving.
Curry, three, bang!
And speaking of Kyrie Irving, after the 2016 Finals, Kyrie vs. Curry was a very real debate. But Steph in this series averaged 27, 9, and 8 on an absurd 62% true shooting percentage. The quote-unquote Kyrie vs. Curry debate ended in that moment, and you could very easily say Steph Curry closed Kyrie's championship window. As since that series, Kyrie in total only has 11 playoff wins, compared to Steph, who last year alone in 2022 had 16 en route to the championship. And looking at the next Cavaliers vs. Warriors series, Steph once again was all-time great, and the Warriors this time blew Cleveland out in a record fashion, winning each game by an average of 15 points and beating a dead horse in games 2 through 4. Now, the biggest takeaway from this series, besides Game 1, was in Game 2, where Kendrick Perkins, yes, Kendrick Perkins, who wasn't even suited up for the game, tried to trash talk Steph Curry. Perkins is known far and wide for his awful Steph Curry takes, but in this moment, he etched himself into NBA Finals history, as in the fourth quarter of that game, after trash-talking Steph, Curry in the fourth quarter had 16 points, outscoring his own team and the Cleveland starters, on above 60% shooting, going 5 of 5 from threes with a plus-minus of +11.
That boy is good.
And I do want to add some very important context. Going into that fourth quarter, it was far from a blowout, as Golden State was only winning by 10 points. And speaking of fourth quarter play, Steph for this entire series was off the wall, averaging 10.8 points per game, higher than LeBron, higher than Kyrie, higher than KD, even Klay Thompson. And looking at the 2018 Finals in depth, that right there is the end of an era of LeBron vs. Curry and the Warriors vs. Cavaliers. But looking on the bright side, out of that terrible series, we got the Steph Curry vs. Perkins rivalry that lasted nearly 4 years and only ended in 2022 after Steph won his 4th championship.
Stop saying it
properly.
Now, speaking of the 2022 season, one of the crazier Steph games from that year, of course, came versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. And in Curry's return to Cleveland, this was an all-time great performance, as the Cavaliers in the fourth quarter were up by 13 points and had a 93% chance to win the game. And for Steph himself, he was having an average game, only having 20 points and playing decent. But when it came to the fourth quarter in this game, Steph once again found his groove in a Kobe-like mindset, as Steph in that fourth quarter had 20 total points. On above 60% shooting, he made 4 threes with a plus-minus of plus 26. Golden State in that fourth quarter outscored Cleveland 36-8 and ended up winning the game by 15 points. And even more impressive, Steph in that fourth quarter was the only starter in the game, as his teammates were Damon Lee, JTA, Otto Porter, and Baljitsa. I don't know what it is about Cleveland, but when Steph plays there, something special is bound to happen. And look, for Cavaliers fans now in the post-LeBron James era, this year for sure, you should be very happy as well as optimistic, as on your roster you have Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, and arguably the best backcourt in the NBA. Now, with that being said, as the old saying goes, some things never change. As in Steph's first game versus the New York Cavaliers, once again, he went off and was simply legendary. As with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, Golden State was down by 8 points, and Cleveland had a 92% chance to win the game. In those final 5 minutes, Steph Curry had 15 points, scoring from anywhere and everywhere on the court. He had 2 threes that were absolutely mind-boggling, and the game-icing free throws. And looking at his stats in total, he had 40 points, 6 threes, on 65% shooting. And by scoring 40 points in this game, Steph actually made some history, becoming the oldest player since Michael Jordan to have back-to-back 40-point games at 34 years or older. And at this point for Steph, when it comes to playing Cleveland, it's getting simply absurd. As to remind you guys, in his last 20 games, he's 19-1 and has won 15 straight. And when it comes to Steph's overall play this year, versus every team, he's been just as good, ranking top 3 in scoring, shooting 44% from 3, his highest since 2016, and over 50% from the field, his highest of his career. Also, in addition to that, when it comes to his Warriors team, he's their leader in points, assists, as well as rebounds, as a 6'3" point guard. It is still very, very early, but Steph at 34 years old is still getting better and somehow is rivaling 2016 Curry. Now, with that being said, that is the end of the video. As always, thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time.